Wow, have you ever been in a relationship where you got so serious that you knew it was time to meet the parents? We talked about that last week. This week, we're going to talk about how to let it go to a deeper level and be less superficial so that you can really understand your partner even better by understanding the family.
Alexis comes off a very emotional person. Of course, she's my baby. I don't want her to get hurt. We live our lives to the fullest kind of people. So travel, food, fun, entertainment, and I just want to make sure that she has somebody that can give her, what she's grown up with.
I'm 100% certain about being in love with your daughter.
Hi, I'm Pat Renfro. Thank you so much for tuning in to P2P Relates, where we talk about all things relationships. As we're continuing our series on the book, Marriage is Not, K-N-O-T for punks, 12 things to think about before you say I do. So we are on the fifth thing, where we talk about know from whence they came. The context of that title bridges us to the title for today's message, Learning About Your Partner's Family. As we talked about last week, when you get to know your partner through the family, when you meet them, you get to see a bigger vision of who your partner is, what they're made up of, where they came from to some limited degree. But imagine you met the family over dinner. And so there's just a certain level of depth that's not going to happen at that dinner table. You've got to have another meeting. You've got to have some just down to earth family conversations. And people inevitably share childhood experiences and secrets and habits and ways that that person either doesn't choose to volunteer and share or has forgotten about or might not even recognize that that's their tendency. They may have a blind spot and just not even know that they do that. So that's the power of meeting the family, yes, but then understanding where they've come from. When you learn about the family and you're trying to understand who that family is, because that ultimately is going to help you understand who your partner is, these are some of the things you want to think about. You want to understand their family history. And by history, what I mean is, where have they been? What have they accomplished? What have they done? Where have they traveled? Where are they from? East Coast, West Coast, South, Europe, Africa. All those things matter because with each one of those is an appendage of personality, practices, cultural differences, perspectives, all that. And so understanding where they've come from. Just because they live down the street doesn't mean that what you did at this end of the block is the same as what they did. So you want to be able to have conversations to discover and explore just what they're about, which leads us into the second point. What are their practices and their beliefs? Why does that matter? It doesn't matter. It's whatever theirs are. I'll respect that. Well, not so much. You need to understand what their practices are. Their practices could be just how they live at home. How do they go after career or after their passion or after pleasure? How do they eat? Did they eat together as a family or did they eat watching TV? Do they eat out a lot in fancy restaurants? Or just what were the practices? Because your family has a set of practices and beliefs and values that they walked in, that they lived through. And so does your partner. And the more you understand, it does two things for you. One, it advances your development of relationship and connection because you understand this person at a much deeper level. The second thing it does is it helps you, as I'm going to ask you to consider throughout the book, what you want to deal with. Because if the differences are too vast, and you can't wrap your respect mind around it, it's going to be a problem. So you want to make sure that you understand where they came from, and you want to make sure that it meshes with where you came from. And if the two of you can entertain each other in that way, value each other in that way, feel safe with each other in that way. So practices, belief systems, values are critical to understanding your partner. And where did he or she get that from? They got it from their family. And where did their family get it from? Their family, generations. So the more you can understand about grandpa and great grandpa and just other history, the better. Again, this is not an I spy kind of situation. It's not, how can I be as sneaky as possible, find out about these things. You're just trying to understand your partner, and you're trying to make sure your partner understands you. And the more open and honest and straightforward you all are about who you are, starts with you first, the more success you can look forward to having as you grow together, if that's what you choose. And finally, the third thing, recognizing family dynamics. Because what's really critical here is that you understand, how do they relate to each other? So again, when you're meeting family and you're meeting friends, they're going to tell you certain things about their friend. They don't really mean to throw them under the bus, but inevitably, in many cases, they do, because they don't know what's going to be harmful, because they don't know you that well. So they're just sharing what they love about their brother or their sister. And so you're going to learn things you wouldn't learn. And likewise, when you're looking at family dynamics, to bring it back in, you want to look at, how does your partner get along with their family? He needs to have a reverence for his family that he also wants you to embrace as you all grow together. But if he doesn't even like his parents, red flag. So it's really important to understand, how do they relate to each other? And even if they listen to this video and they know how to put on the facade will fall down as they just naturally communicate with each other. Do they work through things? Is everything ha ha ha? Is everything sweet, sweet, nice, nice? Or do they know how to confront issues when they get a little difficult? And how do they do that? Is it combative and confrontational and disrespectful? Or do they know how to take some deep breaths, take some steps back, and then come back with it, or come to it? And do they know how to really speak truth, or do they just dance around? All those things matter. And why does that stuff matter? The reason why it matters the most is because whoever I am, that's who I'm going to show up to be with you. So don't think that because we have this special thing between each other, that our love just doesn't necessarily have to reflect how we relate to family. Family is blood. Family is what you've known all your life. If you don't have a certain amount of rapport and respect and value and connection to your family, hey, that happens. Things happen. In marriage, things happen. But what you want to be thinking about is, if that person can't get along with most of the people in their family, they don't even deal with their family anymore, or there's some type of unforgiveness that happened and it's never been resolved, that same thing could very well and highly likely happen between the two of you, because that's their coping mechanism. Now, that's chapter 11, way down the road, but people have the way they respond to life. And what better way to see how some of the ways might be than to see how they relate to their families? So that's all I have for you today. Hit the subscribe button so that you can be notified when I upload, which is every Friday evening. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this, and I welcome your comments if you agree or disagree. I'd love to hear what you're thinking. And then just plan on coming back next week so we can cover the rest of the chapters for the book. The book, by the way, is not out yet, but 2024 will not go out without the book coming in. You have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next week. Bye.